On a recent show, you made a statement that God is, quote unquote, completely outside the universe. How can that be? Question mark. God lives and moves and has his being through, with, and in us, and we live and move and have our being through, with, and in him. It seems that we are one with God. Granted, there will always be a revealing of God to us, and God is not confined to this universe, but he is present in it. With all my love, Teresa. So what do you say to that, Father?
Hey, Teresa. Oh, very good question. Here's the key thing to be aware of. Let me make three distinctions between pantheism, panentheism, and transcendental theism. Because, you know, the statement you make, Teresa, is very true, but you have to have it in the right context. Transcendental theism means that, like, the whole universe is like a thought in God's mind. So, you know, God is, as it were, thinking the thought of the whole universe. And by the way, he thinks the thought of heaven, which is a different thought. And he thinks the thought of, if there's another universe somewhere, he's thinking that universe. So remember that that is God, who's, as I'm going to say, outside or beyond, right? And I'll put it in scare quotes, the universe, because, of course, the universe is a thought in his mind. Let's call that transcendental theism. But you don't want to get that mixed up with pantheism. Pantheism means that, you know, that God is somehow so much a part of our universe that he's reduced to the universe. So in other words, you know, if you add up the sum total of the whole universe, God's in there somewhere. And let's call that God is everywhere hypothesis pantheism. So God's not the thinker of the thought of the universe. God's sort of reducible to the sum total of the universe. And then you have another thing which is called panentheism, where in a way, you know, God is not beyond the universe completely. He's only beyond the universe slightly. And what that means is somehow the universe it controls him, even though in a way, you know, he's beyond it. It's still sort of so constitutive of him that it actually controls him by nature. Now, the church has you know, condemned the last two, pantheism and panentheism, as incorrect. So when we say that God is in us and through us, and what you're saying is all true, you have to do it from the perspective of that's because God, the whole universe and everything in the universe is a thought in God's mind. Yes, and I'm using mind here in the sense of St. Thomas Aquinas as a simple, unrestricted act of thinking. Right? I'm not talking about a brain or something like that. So the idea then is you have to look at it that way, and then your statement is correct. But you also have to say that God is beyond or outside the universe. That God can't be reduced to the universe. So when we say that God's you know, in us and through us, that's absolutely correct. But he is beyond us. He's beyond the whole universe, because the whole universe is a thought in his mind. So that's basically the way the church has answered it. And by the way, Lonergan's proof for the existence of God in Insight makes that very clear. And I have a proof for the existence of God based on Thomistic principles in a book called New Proofs for the Existence of God, which you can also read, that makes that very clear. So, but you do have to keep them kind of straight. Otherwise, you have poor God being reduced to the universe.
Right.